Greetings, beloved. Hope you are having an amazing day. Welcome to Togetherness Media this evening. We're going to be talking about some things about your responsibility, living up to your responsibility, and making wise and correct decisions. And sometimes we go straight to music, but today we're going to go straight to the guest so we could get into it. We got my dear friend, Dr. Kade. What's up, my brother?
Good evening, my friend. How are you?
I'm divine. How was your weekend?
I'm wonderful. It was great.
Good,
How was
good.
yours?
Man, it was divine. It was busy. Went traveling and had a couple of performances, and spoke earlier
Nice.
today at an event. So it was a full weekend.
You are always busy, my friend. And you're
Yes,
well spoken, so you should be busy.
yes. As are
And very,
you.
very bright too. Thank you. No, well, I'm not sure about that, but thank you. If
I'm
I can
certain
fix
about
my
it. I'm
accent,
certain about it.
if I can fix my accent, things are gonna come across a little easier.
I understand everything you say perfectly. All right. So today
I'm
we're
glad to
gonna
hear that.
So today we're going to talk about making wise decisions and making responsible decisions. Correct?
I think, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And we're going to bring it into the election, and we're gonna riff around a little bit, play around a little bit.
So we're gonna talk about tough subjects, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So I think, if in a broad sense, responsibility for me is sort of, if you want to talk about it in a broad sense, is taking responsibility or taking control of someone, like your child. You're responsible to your child. You have to do certain things, or it's expected of you to do certain things for your child, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're taking responsibility for a prison, your job is to make sure that they're being taken care of or put it properly, and they're kept there and they're not released into the society and what have you. So there is like, and then when we come close to politicians and we come to stakeholders and people who govern us and run the city and run the White House and the state and the Senate, then it becomes the responsibility of these individuals, hopefully, to do what is best for the people that have actually voted them in,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's their responsibility. That's their duty
That's what
to
we hope they do that.
yes, absolutely. We do hope, and I think most of the time people with that hope actually vote the people in, and unfortunately, sometimes some of them they disappoint us, or
Mm-hmm.
they kind of walk away from their responsibility, and they take responsibility only for what's good for them, or what is good only for their own constituents,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe not for everybody inclusively. So they don't. It's not just about everybody else. It's about what would get me the next vote, or what would keep me in power. How can I make my own money, or what have you. I think
Mm-hmm.
we all know that, and that's probably across the world. It's not just here. I'm sure it's happening in a lot of other countries too. But I think if I want to talk about a responsibility of a citizen, because we do definitely have a responsibility, and I think, if I can say it correctly, this was a quote from someone else, not from me, but he basically said, taking responsibility for yourself, in definition, is an act of kindness.
Mm. That's
Is an
beautiful.
act of kindness when you take responsibility for yourself, and that is so important. And I think, I wish I had what Dr. Luther King said in late 50s. Dr. Luther King said, please do not use scapegoats, and do not use any excuses as a defense mechanism to step away from your responsibilities to the society. And I think that was the most beautiful thing he said, because what he was trying to tell people is, don't walk away from your responsibility to the society just because you may be of a different color or you may have a different status. You all of us, including me, we all have responsibility to everyone, inclusively, not
Mm.
exclusively. It's not just for a certain type of people. It's for all of us at the same time. You and
There.
me right now, we both have responsibility to each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
We treat each other with respect, with dignity. We take care of each other. We stay kind to each other, and that's the basically. I think that's what I'm talking about.
That
It's more.
reminds me of an old James Baldwin quote that I'll paraphrase. We can't change everything that we face, but we can't change anything unless we face it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have to also understand that whatever is happening in the society, we have to first understand the cause of it and know that we are responsible for it. Does not mean necessarily that we created it, but we can make the change.
Yes.
That's the responsibility that I think every citizen should keep in heart. This is not the cause of it could be someone else. It could be even act of natural disaster. But we are responsible to step in and make that change and make things better. That's why we have the brain. That's why we have the consciousness, right?
Yes.
Animals don't have that consciousness. We can't rely on a lion to come and fix something in the society. But we do certainly be extreme and make that change. Now that change, when we talk about people in the society, it's more about you cannot obviously make a great, most of us cannot make a great impact in the society, but we can do in our own limited abilities. Like we have to be informed of what's going on around us. First of all, I think that's extremely important. We can't be naive. We can't close our eyes and say, well, it's not happening to me, so then it's okay. We should be responsible and be informed of what is happening in my community, what's happening in my city, what's happening in my country, and I would even take it one step further, what's happening in the world. And I could be one of the people that could be the mechanism to bring the change. And I have to believe that I have a voice in the democratic process.
Yes.
Unfortunately, some people think that they don't have that voice anymore. Or maybe, at some point, we all know that people did not have the voice, right? It was only white men that could vote. And I think I read somewhere that...
And landowners. It had to be landowners, too, at one point,
too.
Yeah,
exactly. I think when George Washington became the president, I hope I'm not mistaken, but I was watching a documentary, this was a long time ago. It said only 6% of the entire United States voted for Washington to become president. Only 6%. And those were only landowners and only white men. So this was exclusive. It was not inclusive, even though this was supposed to be land of the free. Hopefully free.
Yeah. It was the land of free labor at one point.
Right. And then at some point, even African Americans could not vote, even if they were a citizen of the United States, until amendments changed. And then, of course, they could vote. And then another amendment came in that women can vote. Women could not even vote. Their voice were not being heard. And that's to me, that's like total disrespect to humanity in general. It doesn't even matter who wrote the laws or whatever at that time. Total disrespect to the humanity in total, in general.
Yeah, and then after it was, people were made able to vote nationally based on law, but then there were certain things like, the grandfather clauses and other things like that. Unless your grandfather was able to vote, then you aren't able to vote, and all kinds of other things that were put up during the Jim Crow era. So today we're talking about responsible choices. Do you think that there's something that leads back to childhood for some people that makes them feel that that keeps them from making responsible choices, or what do you think usually tends to lend to that?
I think it's a combination of a lot of different things. I can't really pinpoint one or another, but I think part of it definitely, because I think when they're growing up, they did not understand the price of greatness is taking responsibility. In order for you to create something great, you need to understand that you can make a difference in it. You can make an impact. So you're taking responsibility. You take ownership in it, right? Yeah. Or look at our forefathers, or people that came after them. How did the amendments came about? They took responsibility that in order for this America, for this country to become the great nation, I have to become responsible, and I have to make sure that my voice and choice and voice of everybody else is being heard. And I think that's extremely important, that people have to make sure that greatness didn't just come about by itself. Greatness came because many people stepped up and maybe even sacrificed their own life to bring that. And it bothers me, to be honest. And I hope nobody gets upset. But it bothers me that a lot of people say my voice does not matter and I'm not going to vote. It doesn't make a difference. I think that's like a
cop-out.
That's like, and that hurts me, because I know how many people, God knows, have sacrificed their own life
Exactly.
to make sure that you actually preserve this right to go and exercise it. And then we just step back and we don't do it. And when we don't do it, then the society becomes the way it is right now. And please, I hope people don't think that I'm referring to the president. I'm just saying the society in general,
Yeah, exactly.
everything.
So I haven't missed a vote.
Because some people just step out of it. They opt out. And they don't do that. They use it, like Dr. King said, they use it as a scapegoat for a defense mechanism not to do it. Like, it doesn't matter. It does matter. That's what he was trying to say in a radio address.
Yeah.
Please
Apathy and lack of hope are two of the most dangerous things to civilization. When people are apathetic, and once they believe that they cannot make a change, it makes it so that those who have agendas that are against the populace, for those who have agendas that are purely self-serving and selfish, that means that's when they're able to take control. I haven't missed an election since 1994, since my first time I was able to vote, because of all of the people who bled and were beat and were killed for the right to vote. Apathy is the antithesis of democracy.
Absolutely, Anthony. I think people take it for granted, but I think the day I became a citizen, it was not just about getting a certificate and being able to live here in this country. I took that very seriously. I took all the responsibilities that came with it seriously.
Yes.
From the day I took that certificate in my hand, I said, the moment I turn 18, I'm going to step up and I'm going to vote. And I'm going to make sure that responsibility is a way. Irresponsibility is an excuse. And I made sure that I don't come up with an excuse. I come up with a way to make sure that my voice as a citizen and my choice is heard. And that's one way to do it. It's not always yelling and screaming at other people or shaming and blaming everybody else. It's about you stepping up and doing what's right. What you know in your heart, it's right.
Yes.
Right?
Responsibility.
I had a quote from somebody else which escaped my mind. I wish I could have shared that.
Responsibility is responding to the greatest of your ability. Are you responding to the greatest of your ability? I just recently released a song, and I performed it today as well. It's called Sign Your Name on History's Wall. And it's incumbent on all of us to sign our name on history's wall. Sign our name so that the history knows that we will not accept a world where fear is the norm. We will not accept a world where people are judged and treated unfairly based on their color, where people are treated unfairly based on their the gender they were born with or the gender they choose. They sign our names on history's wall so that people will be treated fairly regardless of their religion, regardless of who they love. Sign your name on history's wall. Sign it boldly and sign it now.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think if I put it in my words, for me, it means that all the noise that all these people make is to make sure that they suppress you, so you don't go out there and vote, and make sure that your voice is being heard. Once we get rid of all this noise and sit in quietness of wisdom, and I hope that makes sense, then we truly sense or understand our responsibilities. We need to cut all this noise that are around us, the social media and all this craziness, and really go to the depth of our heart and to the wisdom and find our voice. And I know for a fact, if someone gets to that point, their voice would become inclusive. It's not just about themselves or just about a certain party or just about all this noise that is around you. You hear a lot better when you sit in the quietness of your own heart and on your own, of your own soul. I hope I'm not being too spiritual about it, but I really mean that, because I hear so much noise around me myself. I was just on the phone call with my brother, my older brother, and he has a totally different view of me, right? And we debated for about 15-20 minutes on the phone. And I said, well, I have to go call Anthony, so forget it. I got to talk to you later, and I got to go. And he was like, always talk about it later. I said, yeah, but I have to go somewhere. We talk later. But we talked, and I think majority of us, and I'm not saying him, I love him, but I'm just being honest about this. I think the noise around us pulls us into division,
Mm-hmm.
pulls us into following this guy or following that guy or this party or that party, this and that. We need to clear ourselves from all that noise, sit in a quiet room of our own heart and
Mm-hmm.
soul, and use our own guide and judgment and wisdom, hopefully for the greatness of the mankind, and take
Yes.
responsibility not just for ourselves, for everybody else. And that's actually knowing about your community and about your
Mm-hmm.
city and about your state and about your neighbors and all the people that are around you, and then go participate in a democratic process, which is a
Mm-hmm.
gift that other people have died for. They
Mm-hmm.
died for it to give it to you. I'm not trying to be really passionate about this, but can you imagine those people who fought and lost their life, and maybe their wife or their kid was tortured and killed because of this right, and you're not willing to step up just little 15, 20 minutes to understand certain things and go out there and make sure you participate in the democratic process. That does not mean that you don't respect the laws. That does not mean you don't respect the federal law or state law. It just means that you're trying to make sure that your voice is in there for a better change. The
Exactly.
change, we can always do better, right? Every single,
Always.
we could be the greatest nation on earth, but we could still respect the federal and state laws and everything else and everybody else, but still make sure that our voice is heard. We don't use it as a scapegoat. Well, my voice is not going to be heard. What does that mean? How much
Yeah.
difference can that make? I
Yeah.
heard in one of the elections in a city in a city in Philadelphia, um, the difference was 6,000 votes. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, your voice matters. Of course,
Exactly.
it matters
I always
when it's
say your
6,000 people.
I always say your voice cannot be heard if you remain silent. If you remain
Yes.
silent, your voice will never be heard.
You know, Rumi said something, a quote that he made. He said, yesterday I was intelligent, or I was clever. I hope I'm saying it correctly. And I was trying to change the world.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I became wise, and I'm going to change myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we want our voice and choice to be heard, we have to first change ourselves. Make ourselves, in my opinion, and I hope nobody takes this in a wrong way, we have to become more inclusive. I don't vote personally. I'm only saying this because it's my personal belief. I don't vote based on a party.
Mm-hmm.
I don't vote for me, character matters a great
Exactly.
deal. If you have the character, I don't care if you came from the other side of the earth or you came from moon. If you have the character that stands for inclusive rights for everyone, if you
Mm-hmm.
stand for love, if you stand for justice and equality for all human beings, every
Exactly.
single one, I would vote for you. I don't care if you don't have a party. I don't care about the color.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about religion. I don't care about. I don't mean I disrespect religion. I hope that it's not taken out of context. All I'm trying to say is I vote for something bigger than just what I think is good for me.
Mm-hmm.
I vote for things that are good for us, you and me,
Exactly.
both. If it's going to serve you and it's going to make your life better, it's going to make you come to the greatness that you are, it's going to help you achieve your goals and dreams, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to help me reach my dreams and goals, and the future generations that are coming after us. Meaning, if I have to protect the environment, I
Mm-hmm.
don't vote
Yeah.
for somebody who don't go. I don't vote for Chevron, for example, that may destroy the environment. I would
Exactly.
vote for the one that is willing to protect it and preserve it for other people that are coming after us. Remember, we have when I say responsibility, means those people who came before us, in my opinion, didn't do it just for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody like Martin Luther King or Gandhi went out there to march and fight for justice and equality, they didn't do it just for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing it for a just world.
Exactly. I say
I am certain they didn't
responsibility.
do it just for themselves.
I say responsibility means making choices based on inclusivity.
Absolutely.
So it's
And
I
and that is a message of Rumi as well. It's for
yeah.
all human
Yeah,
beings.
yeah, and I know you have to go soon, so I'm going to quote RuPaul, just like you quoted Rumi. You better work, Dr. Cade.
uh,
You want
Please.
any last words? I know you have to leave.
I know like I said, I was just talking to my brother. There is a lot of noise and craziness out there. People are boarding up. I'm hearing even in New York, where my daughter is. In here, they're boarding up places, making sure looters don't come and destroy everything. I'm hoping that people use their conscience, use their heart, use their love, and be respectful to one another, love each other, care for each other, and make sure their voice is heard. They go out. Tomorrow is the last day. Go out there, do it.
Do it.
Make sure you do it. If you don't do it for yourself, for crying out loud, do it for other people. Do it for your neighbor.
Yeah.
Do it for your child. Do it for the people that are coming after you 200 years from today. Because everything that we do, it affects other people. It's like throwing a stone in the water. The ripple affects everything else. And I think people who are conscious, people who are using their good judgment, if they don't step up and do this, they're doing a disservice to their society, to themselves, and to the country. In my opinion, I think it should happen.
I implore everybody out there to be the butterfly wing that changes the winds of time. And thank you so much, Dr. Kade.
Thank you.
Love you, brother. And I haven't seen you since the Dodgers won, I don't think. So
yeah.
So we've had a good little run the past few weeks.
That's right, we did.
Yes.
Yep.
Love you, brother.
Philadelphia Eagles, and they're not doing good.
Yeah, I'm a Niner fan. I feel the same pain.
Ooh, okay.
have a blessed one. Have a blessed one, and
love you, my friend.
Yes, and we'll and hopefully when we speak next week, enough people have made their voices heard. Dr. Kade,
and I hope the outcome would be good for all of us.
Oh, one more thing. Tell them where to find you.
You can find me at drkade@yahoo.com or 310-709-1102. You can also find me under Payam Kade in Facebook or Instagram. There's a lot of ways you can find me if you really want to.
Yes, sure. you can find them by Caravan. All right, we love you, Dr. Kade. I'll see you next week, brother.
I love the hat. You look great. Thank you.
Thank you. You look great too, as always.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Have a good night.
You as well.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.